one of the people behind this effort is Mark Hall, co-organizer of the Let Them Play Michigan Rally. Mark, thank you for being with us on the Oakland County MegaCast.
Thanks, Ronnie. Thanks for having me.
Tell us again, how'd you get involved in this, and why do you feel it's important for these students to be on the football field?
Sure. When the High School Athletic Association, Mark Ewell and his team announced that they were going to postpone high school football until the spring, a Facebook group called Let Michigan High School Football Play, organized by Jamie McIlvaney, started to get steam. My wife and I became involved. We have two boys that are involved in high school sports, football, wrestling, track, varsity players. And so we joined the group, and then we became one of a dozen organizers for the rally in Lansing. And delving into this, we understood that the Michigan High School Athletic Association was at first full steam ahead with fall football, looking at science. And then at the behest and Executive Order 160 from Governor Whitmer, they had to postpone until spring in hopes that they'll be able to get the season in the springtime. And so that's how we initially got involved with this, and it's kind of taken off since then.
It was a nice crowd at the Capitol this past Friday. From the video that I saw, it looked like there were probably 400 to 500 people there taking part in this. Tell me why, when they're saying that they feel like it's for the health of the students that we not play football right now, why do you feel like it is important and it's okay for these students to take the football field?
Well, we've spoken with doctors. We've looked at the data. When you look at the CDC chart on the 0 to 24 age group, there has been virtually 0% deaths in that age group, very minimal death rate. We know that kids under the age of 18 that are otherwise healthy tolerate the coronavirus very, very well. I believe in Michigan, there's only been one death, and that child had underlying health issues. So although that's tragic, at what point does the cure become worse than the disease? And what we're talking about is mental health experts are now referring to the second pandemic with our young people. The depression that's caused from the isolation, from the quarantining at home, no school. We know they're going to be facing depression, anxiety, drug and alcohol use, dropout rates increasing, and suicides. The numbers there are the risk from those mental health issues far, far outweigh any risk that COVID poses to these young people.
Mark Hall with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. He's a co-organizer. Let Them Play Michigan. You had the rally last weekend in Lansing. Right now we are seeing our neighboring states. They are playing football in Ohio. Is that hard to try to explain to some of the students why they would be doing it, in another state but not Michigan?
Yeah, it's the hypocrisy.
So we're having a little bit of an issue here. I think you're back, Mark. Just a little bit of a drag in your Zoom interview, which we're all experiencing and going through right now. Let's see if we can bring you back in.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Mark. You're back. Can you go ahead and we were talking about the state of Ohio playing football.
Right. We're seeing the frustration here. My boys, very strong, intelligent young men, they're feeling the frustration, kind of a hopelessness. And not only Ohio, when you look at schools that choose to do in-person education this year in Michigan, they're going to be able to run physical education classes in their gymnasium. They're going to be able to have 30 kids in the gymnasium during the school day, during the 6, 7 hours of the school day, where they can go in and they can play basketball, they can play volleyball, they can learn how to do those. But magically at 3 o'clock, the volleyball teams and the basketball teams can't come into the gymnasium because now it's dangerous. How do you to come to terms with that with a teenager? How do you try to explain that rationale? We're worried about clearly, we want to use our safety protocols and not be ignorant. But the kids have participated in practices. They've gone travel baseball teams throughout the summer with virtually no issues whatsoever. The practices on the football field with no issues, and putting the safety protocols in place. Certainly, we're not ignorant. We want to be safe with this, but the caution doesn't call for the outright shutting down of these activities. How is it that we worry about our kids coming home and passing the disease, the virus, to elderly? Well, you isolate, just like you do in the regular flu season. If grandma and grandpa have compromised health issues, then you don't go see them during the flu season. It's the same thing here. But what does our governor do? Our governor puts the infirmed, the COVID patients in nursing homes with our most vulnerable citizens, and the death rate skyrockets in our nursing homes. How do I explain that to my boys? It's defying logic. It's hypocritical. It's confusing. The executive orders are confusing. So we're frustrated. We think that the risk that eliminating these competitions, these healthy competitions of face-to-face with these kids, and the opportunities and the memories that are being lost, it can't be undone.
Mark Hall with us. He is one of the co-lead organizers of the Let Them Play Michigan rally that happened recently in the Capitol in Lansing, arguing to allow MHSAA football to continue as it has been suspended for the fall season into the spring due to COVID-19. So with that being the case, Mark, with you want your organization, the athletes that are in support, the parents that are in support of playing football, want football to happen, but you also want to, at the same time, continue to curb the spread of COVID-19 and take that seriously. So what would you imagine in that case if you're able to negotiate with the MHSAA and figure out a way to make football happen and make it happen safely in terms of bringing crowds in terms of limiting interaction with the players in order to allow a safe football season, but a football season to happen nonetheless?
Yeah, again, we're not blind to the risk. And with life, there's risk. Getting in your car, there's risk. So we have exhibited what the state had required during the preseason football. Social distancing on the sidelines, mask worn on the sidelines, temperature checks at the beginning of practice, decontamination of the locker rooms, not sharing of water. The boys had to bring their own water bottles in. So we went to and above the protocols requested by the state, and we were successful. Limiting the amount of spectators, if you have any at all. We had looked at doing a live broadcast for the families to where they could watch from home at the football games. So we're willing to meet, safety, rational and reasonable safety precautions, but the finish line seems to keep getting moved. The boys do everything that's asked of them, and our line, the curve is being flattened here in Michigan. We see that. We're 40th in the state as far as recent numbers, 40th in the country. So we're willing to do what is reasonable, but and the High School Athletic Association isn't against fall football. They are against they're following the Executive Order 160, which pretty much ties the High School Athletic Association's hands.
So, Mark, I know one of the big issues has to do with so many of these senior football players, and that if they can't play, maybe they're not going to get the scholarships for college. Are you talking to your sons about trying to come up with alternative ways to highlight them and their skills so they can be competitive with say, some of the players in Ohio or in Indiana so that they can make sure they get scholarships for college as well?
Yeah, we are absolutely seeking alternative possibilities. You know, of course, we push as far as the academic scholarships, looking at that avenue. But let's not be naive. Athletics for many kids, especially many under underprivileged children, young men, athletics is a doorway to higher education. It's the doorway to their future. And if we close this door, I mean, where is the hope for a lot of these young athletes? I mean, it may lead to desperation. It's like the dropout. We're speaking to school administrators. They're concerned about a lot of these young athletes throwing in the towel and just heck with it, dropping out of school and entering the workforce. And what kind of employment can they hope for with not even a high school education? You know, when they are possibly thinking of college, higher education, and those avenues being shut down. It's terrible.
So the parents, you guys are organized. You've now had the protest. What's next?
This. We want Governor Whitmer to hear us. We want Governor Whitmer to hear this isn't a political issue for us. Sports isn't Democratic. It's not Republican. It's athletics. Our members, over 18,000 now, come from every walk of life, every political belief of life. And we want her to hear us, that we want our kids back face to face doing competitions, participating in sports, because there are so many life lessons. There are so many memories and opportunities that athletics create. We're talking marching band, we're talking cheerleading, we're talking volleyball, swimming. It's not just about football. Wrestling, right now, as of November 1st, wrestling teams can meet under the 4-player rule, which means 4 players to 1 coach with no competitions, and they have to meet outdoor. You tell me how in Michigan, wrestlers can wrestle outdoors in a Michigan winter. So winter sports are done in the state as it stands right now, unless that executive order is changed. And we need her to revisit this and look at the numbers. She told the High School Athletic Association, Mark Ewell, in a meeting, when they asked to look at her numbers, the science that she's relying upon, she stated she didn't have to share that information. Well, why is it secret? If you're trying to keep my children safe and I'm making a decision based on flawed science, let me know. Let me see the numbers. Let me see the information. I'm an educated man. I can figure it out. But please don't tell me you care more about my children than I do.
Mark Hall with us. He's one of the co-organizers of the recent Let Them Play Michigan rally. Just another few minutes with you, Mark. If people want to find more information, join the cause, find more information about what you are aiming at with this cause, trying to get fall sports, particularly football, to be put back into play, where can they find more information and get in contact with the group?
We have a Facebook group. It's Let Michigan Football Play, and Let Michigan High School Football Play. And we would encourage people to join there. There's a petition, and they can join that web or the Facebook group.
So, Mark, I do want to ask, we've had so many other people on the show from different organizations, whether it be the movie theaters, the bowling alleys, businesses that are also continuing to be shut down. They've gotten nowhere with the governor. Why do you think you guys will be able to get this changed? And is there a cutoff to when you could even try to make this happen?
The cutoff is probably halfway through the season, because even in the springtime, the season's going to be drastically cut down. And again, there's no guarantees in the springtime if we have football. And what do we do if the winter sports are shut down as they stand now, wrestling, football, or basketball, and swimming? What are we going to do then? Are we going to try to squeeze all 3 seasons into the spring? And what sport does my one son who does football, wrestling, and track, what sport does he choose? It's to the point right now, it's never too late. If we don't get the governor to revisit this and allow the High School Athletic Association the flexibility by reducing the restrictions in Executive Order 160, we may be successful in getting winter sports back into this play. But we want her to look at it. The numbers aren't there. It doesn't support. And we understand there's risk with everything we do. We, as a society, I think, have learned to reevaluate how we live our lives, washing hands, avoiding the sick and elderly. That's great. But at some point in time, we're going to have to come out of hiding. We're going to have to be able to live our lives. My heart breaks for these gym owners, movie theaters. These people are in financial ruin. And again, I'm not sure this calls for these drastic measures. And I'm also concerned that the governor, under her own power, extends her own executive emergency authority. Our state legislature has been rendered worthless in this. Our elected officials that are supposed to represent us in our districts have no say in this issue. The governor has free reign. She is the state lawmaker and the state law enforcer in this. And that is not right. That is not the land of the free. And I strongly disagree with her on that. And I wish we would bring the state legislature into the fold, the people that I voted for to represent me and my community, and have a honest and open discussion and vote on these issues.
So has there been any communication with anyone from the governor's office at this point?
No, the doors are shut. They refuse to speak to us. It's very limited with the High School Athletic Association. Our understanding is from the High School Athletic Association, they are firm on the Executive Order 160. And again, it's like, where is the end game? Where is good enough? It seems that the finish line keeps being moved. When we first started into this, we wanted to see the curve flatten. The curve is flattened. The curve is downward spiral. Sure, it's going to spike up again come the winter months. We know that, as is influenza is going to come into the play. But again, we have to be smart. We have to distance ourselves from those who are health compromised. Otherwise, healthy young adults, get out and live your lives.
Mark Hall with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. Just another minute before we let you go. Anything you want the listeners and the viewers to know before you say goodbye?
Contact your state legislature. Contact the governor's office. Join our group. Be heard if you agree with us. Like I said, this isn't about being a Republican. This isn't about being a Democrat. This is about dreams, memories of these young men and women that are being crushed, taken away, that will never be regained. Senior years, we're talking homecoming, prom, the first day of school, winning the league championship, all of these things that I have friends that I participated with in high school, as I know everybody out there does, that participated in sports and band and cheerleading, and that you have these friends today. And these are things that are being taken away from these young men and women that will never be recouped. And I just don't believe the risk is that great to these people that we can't overcome it and put safety precautions in place. Please reach out to your state legislatures and the governor's office and encourage them to reconsider this.
Mark Hall with us on the Oakland County MegaCast. Thank you so much for taking time to speak with us and share your message. We wish you the best of luck. Stay safe, stay healthy. And again, thank you for being with us on the Oakland County MegaCast.
Ronnie, thank you very much for allowing me to present the case for the kids. Thank you so much.